or Tante, or Auntie Taurus, as she was commonly known, ever met. In 2012, a statue was erected on the quay at the Hook to commemorate, that's easy for me to say, right? Commemorate all those who saved Jewish children. So some 10,000 children were saved through Auntie Taurus, and then we have this 660 which were saved by Sir Nicholas Winton. Let's continue on down with this. Winton found homes for 669 children, many of whose parents perished in Auschwitz. Winton's mother also worked with him to place the children in homes and later hostels. Now notice Nicholas's family came alongside and helped him in this project. And, that's like a biblical principle. When Jesus found some of the disciples, they went and told their brothers and said, hey, we found the Messiah. Come on, let's follow him. And they worked together to minister to people. And that's how things should happen. Families should band together, and groups of people should band together and save the lost and save those who are perishing here on the earth. There's many Christians who are in jail and prison right now in places like Iran and different places in Malaysia, and there's a lot of Christians in some of the countries that are Arabic-type countries where it's illegal to be a Christian and they're thrown into jail. So if you hear these, you need to contact your congressmen and senators and let them know that you'd like to see these people released from the places where they're being held. We just had something this past week that happened. It was very sad. The United States made an agreement with Iran to lift sanctions for the because of their nuclear program, if they would agree to curtail their nuclear program. And so this just blows my mind, because Neville Chamberlain, if you remember this from your history class in World War II, was the one of the leaders in England, and he went over and made deals with Hitler and the Nazi Party and appeased them. They took a stance of appeasement of the German and Nazi Party. Well, you can see how much their appeasement of the German and Nazi Party helped them out, because they were being firebombed in their major cities by Germany a few short years later. So here we are. We're going to Iraq. No, it's Iran. I'm sorry, one of them countries. It's Iran with the nuclear program. We're going to them, and we have sanctioned all these years against them because of their nuclear program. And now we're saying to them, oh, Iran, if you'll be nice, we'll lift these sanctions and we'll help you out, and you can get back on track financially. Well, all this taught the Iranians is that if you hold on long enough, you stand your ground, America's going to cave, and the rest of the world's going to cave and give you what you want, and you can continue doing what you want. You think that the Iranian people or the Iranian government's going to stop their nuclear aspirations because of this? I doubt it. So appeasement never works. As far as I'm concerned, we should continue our hard line against Iran with regard to their nuclear policies. But again, the United States has bowed once again to another tyrant, another power in the world, and we are looking quite foolish and quite weak. And this will turn out bad for the United States of America if this continues, and I only hope that people, godly men and women, will be elected during the next election cycle, and that these laws and these ways of dealing with the rest of the world will be changed, and to keep these types of things from happening. So anyway, that was my little tirade on Neville Chamberlain and appeasing Iraq. But anyway, getting back to the story about Sir Nicholas Winton, again, he found the homes with his mother working with him. And throughout the summer, he placed advertisements seeking families to take them in. the last group, 250 children, which was intended to leave Prague on 1st of September 1939, did not reach safety. The Nazis invaded Poland, marking the start of the World War II, and the children later perished in concentration camps. So he saved 669 children, but an additional 250 children that he tried to save, tried to get them out at the very last moment, were captured by the Nazi and exterminated in the extermination camps. You know, one of the interesting things about him is that he never promoted himself. He never said, hey, look at this great thing I did during World War II. In fact, he was married, and his wife never knew that he had done this, that he had participated in this. So, you know, it's amazing that, you know, as Christians, we're taught not to blow our own horn and not to tell people how great we are. It says, let another man praise you. Don't praise yourself. Let another man praise you. And this is a principle throughout the Bible. So this man kept this principle. And I think that he's a great man for doing so. He didn't blow his own horn. He kept quiet about this stuff. And finally, his wife, Greta, found a detailed scrapbook in their attic in 1988. So this happened in 1939. She found this detailed scrapbook in their attic. It contained lists of children, including their parents' name, the names and addresses of the families that took them in. By sending addresses to these 80 Winton children, 80 were found in Britain. Winton's children were found in Britain. And in 1988, they had on a BBC television a show called That's Life, and they honored him. And one of the most movie things, and I saw this on the video, and it almost brings you to tears, is as they announced that what he did, he was just sitting in the audience. He had no idea that he was going to be featured on the show. He said, would the children that were saved by Sir Nicholas Winton please stand up? And dozens of people surrounding him stood, and he stood with tears rolling down his face and just realized that all these people were saved by him, and they were honoring him at this time. It was just an awesome video. I recommend it highly to you. Go on to YouTube and search under Nicholas Winton or Sir Nicholas Winton, and you will be able to see this show where he was applauded and was honored greatly through what he has done. Now let's look a little bit more about the Holocaust. You know, today my audience is about between the ages of 14 and about 45 years old. And do you know that many, many people listening to my voice here on the radio today do not know anything about the Holocaust? In fact, the Second World War is starting to be forgotten as time goes on. And by way of remembrance, I wanted to bring out what happened during World War II, what it was all about, and just to let people know exactly what happened back in our history, the world history of World War II, and how it's gone on here today. It is going on more and more today, and how some of the policies back then led to this terrible, terrible execution of all these people. This wasn't just in the Holocaust. They didn't count all the people that were killed by the Nazi Germans. There were millions and millions. There were 6 million Jews, but there was so many Czechoslovakians and Russians and different people that were killed by the Jews. It's just amazing. But anyway, if you'd like to call in on the show, my number is 561-623-9429. Again, 561-623-9429. Or you can go directly to W4CY.com radio. The number will be listed there. If you have Skype, you can Skype in and be on the air live with me right now. Or you can just call that number, 561-623-9429. I'd like to have people who lived during this time of the Second World War to call in. If you were alive during that period of time, and let me just know your story on the not so much the Holocaust, but what you remember about the war during that period of time. I know a lot of people were very young. It's been a long time since that war happened, but I know people in their 70s and 80s definitely will remember that. So let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about the Holocaust. Now, the Holocaust, the name, the actual word comes from the Greek, meaning holos or whole, and kostos, meaning burnt. So it actually means whole burnt, the Holocaust. It's known as Shoah or the catastrophe in Yiddish. The mass murder or genocide of approximately 6 million Jews during World War II, a program of systematic state-sponsored murder by Nazi Germany, led by Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party, throughout the German Reich and the German-occupied territories. Now, one of the things that I'd like you to note here is that Adolf Hitler couldn't have done this on his own. He had a Nazi Party that was behind him, and he also had the military. But many, many civilians helped him in killing these Jews and all these other people. They pointed them out. They came out to the government and said to the government, look, this person is a Jew, or this person's a homosexual, or this person's a Catholic, or this person's whatever they were that was deemed less than what a true German should be, and pointed them out. And we see some of these things going on now in the United States of America, where we see things like anybody part of the Tea Party being pointed out. We have our IRS actively opposing people from the Tea Party, and people from conservative groups, conservative Christian groups, are being blackballed and blacklisted. If you ever look at the NAACP, right now, if you are a conservative Christian in the NAACP, right now, you are ostracized from that group. You're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to participate as far as just being a member, because they are blocking Christians from that group to be able to speak out from the NAACP. Can you imagine them blocking Martin Luther King Jr. from being able to speak in the NAACP? I mean, this is how this group was founded, was on these people. And now they've turned their backs on Christians and conservative ideals, and they want to go mainstream and so that they can be more popular, more politically powerful. And when you leave your roots like that, any organization leaves its roots like that, you're headed for trouble. And the NAACP should not have done this. They should support their conservative people, parts of their organization that have been there for decades, who they are now rejecting because they do not want to be part or linked with the Christian groups or conservative groups. So I'm going to be going on down through some more information on the Holocaust. You can find this in Wikipedia. It's under the Holocaust. Just search Wikipedia Holocaust on Google and you'll bring it up, or any other search engine for that matter. And I'm going to just read a little bit from here. Of the 9 million Jews who had resided in Europe before the Holocaust, approximately 2/3 were killed. So 2/3 of the 9 million Jews. Over 1 million Jewish children were killed in the Holocaust, as were approximately 2 million Jewish women and 3 million Jewish men. So half of these killed during the Holocaust were women and children. So, it's just unconscionable, the death and destruction that happened during this period of time. And the world sat by for the most part. Britain jumped in. Of course, United States of America jumped in really late and during the war. We would not even have entered this if it wouldn't have been for Pearl Harbor. And I know Pearl Harbor was a horrible thing, but Pearl Harbor saved millions and millions and millions of life because it awoke the United States of America to what was going on in the world. And we finally stepped up and did something and entered the war and started to beat back these tyrants and destroy these groups that were killing so many innocent people. So, getting back to the story, and